Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started.
I'm home from school, Grandpa.
Well, my boy. Come have a seat. Tell me about your day.
All right. Oh, I'm a bit tired. My teacher gave me a pretty heavy workload.
Let me tell you about hard, my boy. Back in my day, we had to walk to school in 4 feet of snow every day.
Oh, and was it uphill?
Indeed it was, my boy. Both ways. And instead of books, we had to carry bricks to school.
What, really? Bricks? Why didn't you bring books?
Oh, we had to bring them too. We brought bricks and books. But first we had to build the school before we could study in it. So build it I did, with my own bare hands.
Oh, okay, Grandpa. I'm getting a little tired. I better go start
Tired? Don't even get me started on tired. I haven't slept since 73.
Oh, brother.
Oh, that's right. You wouldn't believe it. I remember it like it was yesterday. That was the year of the big corn freeze, and none of us could find a place.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Yeah, indeed. It's 1973. That was the year of the Great Corn Freeze. I don't even know what that means. But that little funny beginning was just meant to illustrate a little bit about what's going on today and how we can fall into the trap of the whole back in my day thing, but also how we can learn something from the people back in their day and how we can learn from the mental toughness and maybe the physical toughness of past generations and what they had to go through pre-internets and smartphones and social media and all that crap. But also, maybe they can learn a little bit from us too about being adaptive and being, ready to try new things all the time and maybe to not just accept things to be hard. But for today, we're going to talk about a little bit of acceptance in the art world and going into it, first of all, knowing that it is going to be difficult. I think that's important to do, and it's not meant to discourage anybody. It's just meant to be like, okay, if you're going to go into this world that is very dog eat dog and, there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of talent, you got to understand it's going to be hard. So hence the whole back in my day, we can learn a little bit from that because I think nowadays, and I've talked about this before, and I'm sure some people will give some pushback, but that's okay. There is a little bit of a tendency to expect things, instant gratification. I want my fame, I want my success, and I want it now. And, on some level, that's great. We should want and expect success. I talk about that all the time. We should want and expect it. But there should be a balance between wanting and expecting success and also understanding the process and, that it might take some time. So there needs to be like an acceptance of that and a surrender to that, and then the work ethic and the expectation of it happening. Like it's coming, knowing that it's coming, but just doing the work. Now, this is something that I struggle with and I, really have to be mindful of when I talk to people because I get a lot of people who reach out to me and ask for advice on certain things. And that's wonderful. I love being able to share any wisdom or, hacks or things that I've learned along the way. But there's this tendency, and it's easy, and you can see why past generations do this because they see people coming up and they know what they've been through and they know that, they had to struggle. And I fall into that trap too of like, okay, you want this, I understand. and you're working very hard. I get that. And then there's a part of me that's like,
Well, back in my day, I had to work for 14 years, and I almost drank myself to death, and I was in a dark, dark place, and I had to pound the pavement, and I didn't know anybody, and nobody gave me my own way,
that kind of thing. And yeah, it's all true. I did have to work for 14 years, and that's after school and putting in my dues of like learning how to paint for 8 years prior to that. Going through with my mentor, working with him for a year after school, getting the Krellsheimer assistantship, teaching painting classes, having my own studio, learning how to be an artist, and then coming down here and then struggling for 14 years and having a really hard time with it. So, it's easy to fall into that trap of being like,
back in my day.
But also you have to understand that, look, if I had been able to be successful, I would have done it. If I had a fast track to success, if I had found hacks earlier, if I had had social media back then, if I had had ways to get my work in front of more people and had those at my fingertips, I would have utilized those. And I would have wanted to have a fast track to success. Now, there's the flip side of that, which is like, look, I'm kind of glad I didn't because I wouldn't have known what to do with it. And I don't know if I would have had the chops to kind of keep going and keep producing and learning, to build a body of work and to be humble and to, not expect things so much like in a kind of greedy way, but also to have this spiritual aspect to my work, but also to just understand that, look, this is something that I'm doing for the long term. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So I'm very thankful that it took me that amount of time. And it's really hard when you're starting out to be like, oh yeah, okay. 10 years down the road, I'm going to look back and be thankful for my struggles. When you're struggling, the only thing you want to do is get out of the struggle. And I completely get that. But maybe we can have a little bit of a spiritual approach to this, almost like a Zen Buddhist approach to this, which is like the obstacle is the way, or like a Stoic approach to this, and understand that it is a process. And enjoy this process and accept what is given to us and understand that it is going to take time and take the wins as they come. Enjoy those, be grateful for those, and just keep trekking because, I think there's a lot of people that get discouraged so quickly nowadays. It's like, well, I'm doing my stuff. I'm putting my stuff online. I've been doing it for 3 months and I got nothing. Well, it's like, okay, but there's like millions of other artists, or at least hundreds of thousands of other artists who are doing the same thing every day. It's going to take time. It's consistency over time, and it's putting up quality work consistently over time, and it's learning to know that, okay, things are not going to happen right away. When I first made my transition to online heavily, I'd already been doing the gallery circuit for over a decade, 14 years, like I said, and I had, cut my teeth in the art world on that side. And it was okay. I'd made some traction, but I really wasn't sustaining myself and making a living doing what I was doing. And it was making me very frustrated. So when I really started to make that full-blown transition to online, now I'm talking devoting my time to it. I was doing piecemeal here and there, but when I started devoting all my time to it, it took me about a year and a half to make my first sale. And that was really just focusing and strategizing and learning from other people and doing it day in, day out. And it wasn't sexy, I got to tell you.
Actually, working hard was sexy.
It wasn't sexy. It wasn't like, oh my God, yeah, you were just living the dream. No, I was doing the work. I was doing the behind the scenes stuff. And then there was the behind the scenes of all the building the body of work for the 14 years before that, establishing that I could be a working artist and all those things. So, that's very important because it might not always be sexy, and it's got to be something that you're willing to understand that it is a marathon and not a sprint. And that doesn't even mean it's going to take you 14 years. That's not what it means. It means, look, it could take you 2 years. It could take you 4 years. It could take you 7 months to start selling and getting into a routine and a rhythm of selling your work. It could be 10 years. Honestly, who knows? And there's no guarantee that anybody is ever going to be successful in the art world, whatever successful means to you. I know my standards changed. They didn't drop. They altered, and they were better. Because at first I was like, I want to be famous, and I want to be in galleries, and I want to be like my idols where I'm drinking and painting and da-da-da-da. And that's not sustainable either. What I ended up figuring out was if fame comes, or, I don't care about being a household name or anything, but if you start getting some notoriety with your art, great. That's a healthy byproduct of what you're doing. But that wasn't the first goal, and that wasn't the end goal for me. The goal was to start selling my work consistently to collectors and to get into people's homes and to have a word of mouth and have that spread and have like a consistent living. And, thankfully I got to that point where I was doing that, and I am doing that. But it took a lot of time, and it took a little bit of a shifting of a mindset. Like, you can listen to my old episodes about making my peace with my life at the time when I was working, waiting tables for 16 years through college and outside of college. And, hating my life and then making my peace with it. And then when I made my peace with it, everything opened up. These are all good lessons. And they're not lessons that are easy to pass on, unfortunately, because a lot of people have to come to things, unfortunately, on their own terms. It's like having some sort of rock bottom, moment when you're an alcoholic and you have this moment of clarity. Those don't come to you by just telling somebody, or like having some sort of spiritual revelation that doesn't come to somebody by just telling them to do it, or understanding the process of this and knowing that gratitude will come and you'll be thankful for all of the years of struggle. You can't really make somebody understand that. Unfortunately, most of the time you have to go through it. But this is just a little bit of a reminder that you can start thinking about that. You can start thinking in that way, and you can start adopting some of these principles and some of these ideas, because I think it will make life a little bit easier. And I think when you're doing that, you can be kind of connected to the moment. You can be connected to what you're doing as an artist in the process and creating the work and enjoying that, enjoying meeting the people you're meeting, the other artists you're meeting, having these relationships, getting into galleries, selling online, getting the opportunities that start coming to you piecemeal. That's something that you can start to enjoy day by day, instead of going, I'm not going to be happy until I'm in every magazine or until I'm in this blue chip gallery and everybody in the world knows my name. That is unsustainable and unrealistic, and it's going to make you very miserable. So learn how to shift these standards and take the wins and understand and be grateful for what you get. When you get a sale, be grateful for it. When you get an interview, be grateful for it. When you get accepted to an online marketplace or into a gallery, be grateful for it. Those things are going to help you be a lot more present and a lot more happy in the moment. And I think that's something that I learned the hard way. It's just something that I want to pass on.
Because back in my day, we didn't have the presence of mind.
All right, that's just fun to do. But hopefully this has been something that you can chew on and ponder and adopt some of these principles and ideas. And, they'll make your life run a little smoother and make the art process a little smoother. And it's not to say, don't shoot for the stars. Do it. If you can do this, if you've got the chops for it and you've got the product already and you're creating and you understand the process of being an artist and you can get on that fast track in a year or 6 months and really just, skyrocket out of there and be able to handle that and sustain that and keep it going. If you can do that, I'm all about it. More power to you. But it's also important to understand that, doing this over time and learning these lessons over time and being grateful over time will add character as an artist, and it will make you actually a stronger artist for it. So these are just important things to remember. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Hope you liked this episode. Reach out to me on social media if you did. If you didn't, that's fine too. I hope everybody's well, regardless, and hope you're being creative. Hope you're living the dream and being good to yourself and everybody else out there. We'll see you on the next episode.
Let's just check in on Grandpa, see if he's settled down a bit.
Started on the war. Oh, I was injured. I had to walk on my hands out through the jungle and carry my friend with my feet. Oh man, I'll tell you, it was swampy and it was rainy and you could barely breathe and we had to be underwater for 5 hours.
Nope, he's still going. Well, that's alright. We'll let him talk it out. He'll tire himself out pretty soon.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.